Just getting a couple of contracts sorted out in the new job, mate.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No, sorry about that. I was down at the gym, mate, so I didn't see your
Nah, because there's a Year 12 student, Indigenous student, that wants to do a questionnaire, and I've got a player meeting at 10 o'clock, so I'm just trying to make it fit.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
All good, mate.
Thanks for doing the interview with us, Jamie. I really appreciate your time here, mate.
No
Firstly, I want to congratulate you on your new job.
Thank you.
Yeah, big thing to come up, mate. You know, was it the next season, 2022, Dragons head coach for the NRLW? Yeah, congratulations, mate. It's a big thing, mate. So yeah.
It's a very exciting time for me. Didn't think I'd be in the coaching world this early. I probably always wanted to coach after I'd finished playing, but I thought I'd be a little bit older and have a few more grey hairs. So getting the challenge to the NRLW, which is one of the world's largest growing spaces is women in sport, and having two young daughters and a very successful wife in what she does in her business corporate world, for me is all the motivation I need to be able to get into that space and do the best I can. So it's a big year next year for the women's game in NRL, and to be in one of the 6 head coaching roles is very exciting.
No, that's awesome, mate. Yeah, and with your wife and your daughters, mate, you're setting a great example, especially for young daughters there. With these women competition, they got someone, not just yourself to look up to, but these women that you're going to be coaching. I'm sure your daughters will be around you while you're coaching and see all these role models for them. So, yeah, it's good. It's great work on you, mate, on your behalf. So I just want to get into basically what my page is about. I've got a fans page here for NRLWA. I try to promote the game here in WA. I go to local games, juniors and seniors, photos, videos, do a few reports, but I also share news from the NRL. So when your news came up about the head coaching, I shared that on the page. Just whatever news I find about NRL, I share, and local competitions and stuff like that. So just trying to promote the game here in WA, get it a bit bigger, especially with this expansion, possibly 18th team coming up soon. So I'm hoping Perth gets a team. Just getting to your career, buddy. You've played 232 games of NRL? Well, 230 games, 30 odd games. A couple with the London Broncos. You've got rep games as well, New South Wales Country, Indigenous All-Stars, New South Wales. Mate, you've had a hell of a career, mate. Also a premiership with the Dragons in 2010. How do you define your career?
Yeah, it's, looking back, I was pretty privileged to be able to play over 200 games in the NRL. A couple of stints over in London that probably weren't my greatest achievements, but I think I'd define my career as very successful and a guy that got the most out of his body at the time. Now, towards the back end of my career, I probably was dealing with too much outside influence, with some personal stuff, going through a divorce and stuff like that. But for me, I would define my career as successful and a guy that got the most out of his situation in the NRL world.
Yeah, cool, mate. Yeah, to represent Indigenous and New South Wales, plus also to win a premiership, mate. It's not a huge club that's done that. So you've done an amazing job, mate. So I couldn't put into words what your career's done, mate. So yeah.
It's funny because people always sometimes not forget that I played State of Origin, but I rarely talk about it because we lost the series. But working for New South Wales Rugby League the last 3 years and seeing that your name on the wall and stuff like that, now being back in the fold at the Dragons and their setup, you bring back those memories, because when you're out of when I'm covering the NRL at the moment. And I'm sure you would appreciate this being in Perth, is you're sort of trying to keep an eye on the whole game and what's happening with trends and who's playing where and moving like this and that. being back at the Dragons the last couple of weeks, getting ready for season 2022, it's really brought back some great memories of I was part of that elite club that won a championship and at the Dragons, which is one of the biggest brands in Australian sport. So that success, New South Wales seeing your name on the honour board, that you've played 3 games and been a part of that, and then the Indigenous All Stars. I've probably reflected more on my retirement and my career the last month, getting ready for my new role, than what I had the last 5 years, because I'd always been straight down the line, neutral, call it how I see it, and that won't change in my coaching. But in terms of my career, I didn't really have time to think about it because I was on to the next job. Now, seeing some of the old photos and old people that were at the Dragons and stuff like that is probably, I've reflected more on my career the last month than I did the last 5 years.
Yeah, nice. But it's good, mate. It's good that you've been able to appreciate your career, mate. And like I said, it's been a hell of a career. Probably not what you wanted in certain aspects, being able to go as many games as you wanted, but it's a hell of a career. You made your debut for the Roosters, mate. I didn't realise that you played for the Roosters, but when I was doing some research, you played 22 games for the Roosters between 05 and 07. You made your debut against Newcastle. It was just before, unfortunately, your father's death. How did your dad get to see you play before you did unfortunately pass away?
It's a tough one. Like, I'm comfortable talking about it, but I don't know. I played on the Sunday afternoon, the 8th of May, at the SFS, which was a childhood dream because we all grew up watching the great grand finals there. I watched my first grand final, 94, between Dogs and Raiders, and where Mal Meninga's last ever game, and then you make your debut there, and then you think that the world's the best place, and then the next morning at recovery found out Dad had a heart attack and passed away. And his partner had said that he went down to the club and watched it, but as a recovering sort of alcoholic, I didn't expect him to put himself in a place where there was a temptation just to watch me play. So whether that happened or not, I still probably don't know the true answer to this day, but it was certainly a growing up moment in my NRL career, and something dealing with that adversity early on and probably finding a way around that maybe helped me through the NRL, but maybe also harmed me in other ways in life that maybe I paid for later in life. But it was a great day. It won't be on the greatest games ever. I think it was 4-2 at halftime. Newcastle had 20 players out of their top 30, I think, out with injury. But it was nice to win. And I look back and share those moments now and think that, sometimes in life things aren't going to go right for you and things are going to happen. But, I think that's probably turned me into being a better father, a better husband, with my wife now and for my kids. So, it wasn't easy at the time and still not easy, but to think that I could go from the top of the world to the bottom in 24 hours and then come out the other side eventually, has given me great life experience.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I didn't mean to push on a touchy subject there for you, mate, so I do apologise.
Nah, it's all good.
So 2007 to 2013, you played for the Dragons, mate. Like I mentioned before, the 2010 grand final, 141 games for the Dragons, mate. How was that experience for you going from the Rooster system into the Dragon system, and then Wayne Bennett coming in as well? And obviously coaching you to the grand final.
Yeah, the Roosters. So when I got into the Roosters, we won Jersey Fleet under Shane Flanagan. We were undefeated through all the year. We won, I think it was 29 or 30 games, including the big one on grand final day. And then the natural progression was to play first grade after that. And the Roosters had made 3 grand finals in a row with Freddie and some amazing league legends, not just club legends. So 05 was a transition year. A lot of us were expected to go up and get the job done, and it sort of started a little bit obviously with Dad and reserve grade and stuff. So 05, 06, rolled into 07 where I'd played two more grand finals in reserve grade, lost both. And then sort of just struggled to find my feet under Chris Anderson and, got dropped back to part-time. So I had a meeting with Brownie, go across to the Dragons, and that sort of, 07 was great because I was playing free ticket. I was the kid that came through halfway through the year and weren't expected to do too much that year. And then 08, they'd had successful periods themselves. So sort of in a similar situation, 05, 06, the Dragons had sides that probably should have won the comp. And then 08 rolls around and we make the 8, but I'm injured towards the back end of the year. Not really sure where I'm a first grader, but am I a first grader? Because I've only played 60 games, and then Wayne rings me halfway through sort of 08 when it gets announced he's coming in 09, and he just said, I want you to be my 5'8". So from that moment, it was, okay, I've got someone that believes in me, and for my talents, the way that I play the game. So 9 rolls around, we finished minor premiers. I'm going to sleep like a month before that first game, finals game, and I'm thinking, man, I'm about to lift this trophy. Like it's we're the best team. No one's going to touch us. We play Para. We beat them 37-0. Brett Morris scores 3 tries, gets a try scoring title. The house is rocking at Cogra. Next week, Hayne Plane crashes into Cogra. We're on a plane to Brisbane. We finished first. We're one of the, I think, 3 or 4 teams that lost that 1v8 matchup. We're on a plane to Brisbane, Lockyer, just a masterclass in finals. And in a space of 2 weeks, I'm sitting in a pub at Dapto, drowning the sorrows, thinking, man, I might not get back there. Fast forward another 12 months, we get back to that same situation. We finish first, and we play Manly at Cogra on a Sunday afternoon, same setup, all that kind of stuff. And it was just a different vibe. It was just a totally different focus from the team and from myself. And, we win that game 28-0, play the Tigers, 2 weeks later, a real grand final game. I thought that the game was probably just the grand final winner was coming out of that game. We'd watched the Titans and Roosters, and it's no disrespect to them, but, we probably, both our styles would have beaten both those teams if they had to come into the grand final. The Tigers 80-something thousand, 82,000, I think, or 81,000. Kid born in Canberra, raised in Wagga, running out is just like you can't understand. And I said my stepdad's a very astute thinker, and before a game, I've got a certain routine that I run with, and I usually have 3 made drop goals. So I might have 5 or 6 attempts depending on how I'm hitting them, but I usually like to make 3 in a row before I finish my routine. And that night I was so pumped up on adrenaline that I hit the first one, and just it came out like a tee on the first at Augusta, like it was just straight down the centre. And I ran off, and I didn't have another one, and they sort of went to throw me the ball. And anyway, the game goes on, and we kick the field goal, and Dean Young makes that covering play. We win the game, and first thing my stepdad said to me was, everyone's saying, congratulations, you're in the grand final. He said, you only had 1 shot at field goal. Why? And we sat and talked about it. And that, for me was like, I prepared for that moment. I'd prepared for that moment. We go to the grand final, and, it's the best experience of your life. So it was a pretty sort of like my debut, really. I went from, it was probably reversed, though. I had the disappointment before I had the success in 2010. But a magical time. And Wayne, his influence on me as a person and explaining, some of the aspects of the game that I'd probably maybe overthought or not thought enough about was, very influential in getting me to be successful in that period.
Yeah, cool. He seems like that sort of a coach, mate, where he's able to get his players to respond in different ways. He knows how to manage people, not just coach the football like with the football brain, but knows how to manage people. So that's why he's one of the best coaches in the comp that's ever coached. So when your time comes into the Dragons, mate, you're 2013. You signed him with Penrith beforehand, and Dragons wouldn't let you go. So you've gone, bugger it, I'm going to go to London, sign with the Super League. How was that, mate?
Yeah, there's a misconception about that. So I had gone to I wanted to finish my career at the Dragons, and I had gone to them and said this was the offer that Penrith had given me, which was 4 years. And Dragons came back and said they would only offer me 1. So I signed with Penrith, and then the relationship between me and Steve Price pre-Wayne Bennett, when Wayne Bennett was there, was great. Post, we had we were at loggerheads about a lot of different things, and I wanted the way things had been, where I've been successful. I didn't want to change the left-hand side of the field. I didn't want to play that style of footy because I'd been successful under Wayne, and Wayne had moved on, and that probably didn't shine me in the best light, and that whole situation festered, and I ended up going, signing with Penrith for 4 years, and making that move, and then the relationship had deteriorated to the point where they wanted me to be out of the system, which is fine. Like I said, if you could go back in time, we would change things and whatever else, but that was the situation. So I went to London for 3 months, got fat, freshened up, ready to come back and be the best that I could for Penrith in 2014. But I think that experience in London the first time was just a really good clock reset for me as a person, because I went over there and played in the team that was coming last, needed to stave off relegation. We did that the last game in Hull KR, down 12-0 after 5 minutes, and with a bunch of guys that are playing Super League now. Back then they were 19, 20. They're just new to the world of rugby league, and I'd been pretty experienced. So, that was probably one of the best wins I had in my career. Nice. Is that game at Hull KR under Tony Ray and the young team. A couple of ex-Manly players there as well, but came back ready to go for Penrith.
Yeah, cool. So 2014 to 2016, played 53 games in Penrith, mate. Going from the Dragon system to Penrith, obviously you had, like you're saying, you're at loggerheads with Steve Price about the way that he wanted you to play. When you got to Penrith, mate, how was the reception when you got there? Was it basically back to similar to Wayne Bennett's free reign with you, do what you need to do, or was it similar to what Steve Price was trying to get you to do?
Ivan, they put a lot of faith in me. I probably, with all the paper talk, they wanted Jonathan Thurston, they wanted Todd Carney, they missed out on both of them, and they ended up getting Jamie Soward. Whether that was their first hit list or not, didn't really worry me at the time. I'd come there with premiership experience and premiership winner, so I had confidence in my own ability. I had a tough pre-season. I was pretty overweight and all that kind of stuff. But the 2014 season, we just had a different mentality. We just had a next man up mentality, and I think halfway through the year we were first, and it was sort of just the good times were rolling. We had some good systems in place. We had a great group. And Peter Wallace was leading us right up until he got injured, and then I sort of took the reins. But it was just a sort of do anything for anyone situation, and that 2014 year we lost to the Dogs in the prelim, but to even get to that point was remarkable. Beat the Roosters 1 week before that first week. They just won a competition. Was sensational. So 2015 we had a lot of guys get surgery. I had an ankle Rico coming back into training, and I was going, like I said, I was going through a divorce. I was going through some mental health stuff away from the game that my focus probably wasn't on footy. And then we start the year, first game, I start getting some lower leg numbness and back pain, and get through game 1. We beat the Bulldogs at home. Titans, we beat them, so we're 2-0, which is what we should have been because we played in a prelim. And then I had to get my back done, dissectomy, and then that didn't go right, and had to get done again, and it just kept snowballing. We tried to come back, and it just wasn't the same. And end of 2015, obviously it all sort of falls in a heap with Ivan and Gus, and I'm pretty much on the verge of retirement. But the click for me at the end of 2015 was I met my wife now, and she changed my life. She got me passionate again about rugby league. It wasn't just a job. I was, like a young kid again. I trained super hard. Probably the hardest I'd done a preseason in a long time. Had a little hiccup before Christmas where I had to go back in and get my back done again, and still found a way to be on the field ready for game one under Anthony Griffin. And then, probably similar when, me and Hook work together now. And, this is probably another regret that I had was, at the time I was in the player mind only, and my ego was pretty big, and I'd been successful and fought my way back from, a really bad year mentally, but also physically as well. And then got to the stage where, me and Hook probably didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and he thought it'd be best I'd sort of leave. And he had a couple of young kids. I don't know if you've heard of them, Nathan Clear and Jerome Roy, ready to go. So they were just brought in a little bit earlier, and I finished my career in London. I hated it the second time around. It wasn't a good. I love the players, but I didn't. I didn't want to be there, and ended up retiring.
Yeah, no, fair enough, mate. You play in 2010 to 2015, mate. You played for the Indians.
Sorry, bud. I've got about 5 minutes left, and then I've got to jump on another one and keep it rolling.
Yeah, that's cool, mate.
Right.
That's cool. We'll get on to just what you're up to these days, mate. Obviously, besides for the coaching of the NRLW team, mate, what else have you got on? Read up that you got a podcast, Sweet and Soward.
Yeah, it's I've been doing it for 2 years. Great fun. Bunch of dads talking NRL, talking bit of punting, bit of shit. It's been good. I'll probably have to put that on the back burner this year, just because I am full time at the Dragons and probably can't have those expressive views on the game. But I've really enjoyed that, and obviously working with 2GB and being a commentator and stuff like that is something that I've worked hard to be established in the media in Sydney, which is a hard market. So I'll continue to do that along with the NRLW, be involved as a specialist coach for the NRL team, and then also our pathways is our next crop of talent coming through. So helping oversee the St George districts and the juniors we've got coming through, because it's such a large catchment area, beg your pardon, that we've got with Illawarra, South Coast, and then also St George. And we need to make sure we've got the best kids coming through.
Yeah, that's it, mate. No, beautiful. All right, I'll let you go, mate. You've got a lot on. I do appreciate your time today, mate, and good luck with the season coming up.
No worries. If you need anything or around NRLW at the end of next year, start of next year, let me know, and be able to get you a player or something like that if you want to do an interview and stuff to help out your exposure of the NRL in WA.
Mate, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, sir.
No worries. Have a nice day.
You too, buddy.